Welcome in. It is day 251, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today, we're going to be talking about a game that is an interesting one. I don't often go into the older games, and I definitely don't like to go into the older games and do when they just do a cosmetic shift on the top. Most of you know what I mean, and that is Monopoly. Monopoly tends to be a game that there are hundreds of them out there, maybe even over 1,000 at this point. And yet, if you're asking for a Monopoly game that is actually different than another Monopoly game, you're only talking about maybe a dozen, and to be legitimately a different game, you're only talking about a couple. Really, it's just a cosmetic change, and they just put out loads and loads and loads, and people just buy them. Well, this isn't Monopoly. However, another game that has done this through the years, I will give them credit that their versions do tend to come with each game has its own additional rule set of some type, is Risk. Now, I have owned, and I believe I reviewed earlier this year, or last year, Risk Lord of the Rings. It came in with its Lord of the Rings setup. You could go and you could play as your elves or your humans or your dwarves or as Mordor. You had a lot of opportunities there. And a lot of times that's what they give you, is that the Risk game comes with its own theme. It comes with a slightly changed map. And as a result, there are like a scenario-based way you can play the game. So at least it is different. One game I played was very different. I played the Walking Dead Survival Edition. Now, for those of you who have never played Risk the Walking Dead, it is very interesting. You're still in a matchup against each other. Essentially, that's what it is. However, normally, no matter what version of Risk you're playing, you're still playing it out as last person alive. You're trying to conquer the world and own it all. Sometimes you can't, it would run into that Monopoly issue based on rules. Monopoly tended to run long because people made up too many additional rules and it extended it. Monopoly, by its actual rules, is roughly a 60-minute game. Risk was the opposite. If you didn't put in house rules, Risk could go a while. It was all up to the luck of the die, which meant, and for the aggressiveness of the players. So this game, though, hey, it came in a different section because it was last person alive that would win. And that didn't mean you won. What it meant was you might be the last one alive because you would get turns and then the board gets to unleash an attack of zombies. And literally zombies would get dropped on the board and move. So when I played this game, you had multiple sections. The sections were color-coded. And essentially they would end up dropping zombies in. And depending on where you were, the color you were in, all of a sudden zombies would attack. So you could be fighting each other, but the more you fought each other, the more you were giving just an opportunity on the zombie attack that you were going to have weakened borders. So you ended up mostly playing defense. Yes, you could play offense. You could try to conquer around yourself, get a section, and hopefully get a bonus of extra people coming in. But to be able to wipe out a section, get it, hold it before either somebody else moved in or the zombies came in by the luck factor was extremely difficult. Now, I think that this is one of those games that it sounds goofy, and I definitely, when I saw it, wasn't excited, but after I played it, even though I'm not a big old school Risk type games player, I loved Risk as a kid, but I really dropped it off over a decade ago. It's a game that I was surprised how good it was. I wouldn't buy it for my collection, but I would recommend it. That being said, why don't we jump in, let's talk our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us today. When it comes to the art, I actually thought the box was pretty nice. It's got a little cartoonishness to it, but not in a bad way. I think when used properly, cartooniness to a box can just make it a little bit more appealing to the masses. You had that grab of the Risk fans weren't detracted. The Walking Dead fans weren't detracted. But then all of a sudden, the combination of the two with this fun art style kind of brought you a little bit more in. Cartoonish, almost comic book-like. And on top of that, the board had the same feel to it. I don't think this is an amazing art, but I think it's an acceptable art that can definitely attract from multiple ways. Thumbs up. When it comes to the components, primarily you're dealing with the cards and the minis. You have some dice, obviously, but it's really the minis of your people and the zombies. It's nothing special. These are very basic minis. Barely anything better than the original Risks type minis, which back in the day I wouldn't have even thought of that as a mini. So that's not really, to me, a true mini, but it counts. I think that these are good. I don't think they're going to be the best, but I think that they're going to last and they do the job. Thumbs up. Your price. This game's probably in that 40 to 50 range. You're not going much higher than 50. I think it can kind of waver. It's been out for such a long time that this is one of those games that most likely when you find it, it's going to be a little bit more dropped in price depending on time of year and where you've located it. I think you're getting a good game in there. I think if you're getting it for its theme, it's great. I think if you're getting it as a Risk fan and you just want to play Risk, you're going to have to be okay with the fact that if you don't play with the Walking Dead theme, meaning you take the zombies out and just play basic Risk, I don't think the board is as good for that game. So you have to know what you're getting yourself into. This is not a and B game. This is not I can play Risk and I can play Risk with a theme. This is I'm playing Risk with a theme, and that's all that it is. So be aware of that. I think that for what you're getting, though, for its price, it's good. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. This is not one that's going to detract many. It may not hit for your experts. I'll give you that. But I think your kids and your beginners are fine. And I think your experienced players, so long as they're okay with a rolling fight game, will like it. So I'll give this one a thumbs up. Replayability. I liked the game. I did, but I've never wanted to play it a second time. It was still Risk at the end of the day, just with a good theme. I'm not an overly excited Risk player. I'm not looking to play Risk nonstop. So for me, I had a good time, but I wasn't looking to add it to my collection, and I definitely wasn't looking to go ask people to play it a second time. I think that the replayability on this game is all up to how much you like Risk. I enjoy Risk, but I'm not looking to play Risk a boatload. So for me, replayability, thumbs down. Your keys to victory. The keys to victory there are a few. I'm going to hold my spots and be strong. I'm going to attack the zombies and try to wipe them out. I'm going to try to attack my neighbors and actually win the game. I'm going to try to take over a country for the bonus. There's a lot of ways to attack it, more so than a regular Walking Dead / Risk game. I think that this gives you, specifically for Risk, it gives you more options, but even to other Walking Dead games that I've seen, I think that because it mixes in well with Risk, it does well here. I think you have plenty of keys to victory. Thumbs up. Is it unique? No. I've played plenty of Risk games. Yes, it has a unique version of Risk within it, but I've also played a bunch of other Risk games that have their own unique themes. At the end of the day, you're still playing a roll and fight, move around the map game. You could take this game out, replace it with the original Risk map, and still do the zombie drop. You can take those zombies and realize that it's a fun little extra piece, but other games have done a zombie attack style before. I specifically think of the game Zombies and how many zombies can pop up on things there. Yes, they're not dropping in and re-rushing you, but there are always ways for zombie games to have this kind of aspect. The rush of a zombie horde is kind of the point of a zombie game. So for me, it's not unique. Thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? I think the game is fun. I think if you're into a Risk game, I highly recommend it. If you really like zombie games, I highly recommend it. And if you're kind of okay with them and you're just looking at this game and wondering if it's worth your time, I wouldn't go buy it right away, but give it a try. And it's not so expensive that you couldn't talk to a group and say, hey, let's have 4 of us toss $10 in, play the game out, and either play it out to see if any of you like it, and if you do, that person buys it from the others, or play it out, winner gets to keep the game, or play it out and you don't like it and just donate the game over to a Savers or something. It's a fun game. It may not strike for you, but it's worth a try. Well, it has been day 251, and we've been speaking about the game Risk, The Walking Dead Survival Edition. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding in an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time. I'll talk to you tomorrow.